Now, all of this kind of began with promises. God promising to send a Messiah, promising to free his people from sin, promising to not have a deaf ear, but to be open and to physically live and reside with his people. And so God's people, our Hebrew brothers and sisters, had to trust in that great promise. Likewise, we saw Charlie Brown having to trust a little in his friends to help get him into the Spirit, to lean on their understanding and knowledge of what it is, what is it all about. And so we have Mary and Joseph heading off to Bethlehem. And what a journey it was. For Mary had to kind of walk in that trust that God had it right, that God knew what he was doing, sending her to be the mother of the Messiah, that she would have to trust in her husband to be Joseph, to walk with her in this journey and to see God's plan to its completion. Both kept to that hope. And they journeyed on to Bethlehem, and there saw the birth of this promised child, this Son of God. And there they got to marvel at all that that was and is. And so we too had to trust at the beginning of the season that we would get there, that it seemed like quite a long journey, these weeks we have gone by. But indeed, through joys, through hardships, through trials and temptations, we've had a lot that's kind of shown up in these last 4 weeks. But we trusted God would see us through, that God would reveal something. It wouldn't just be a regular old Christmas. It would be new and different and powerful and life-changing, that tonight would not be like any other night, for there's never been a night like this. And so we trusted and walked, and we have arrived here to this point. We then hear the scene changing to the shepherds, who are out in the fields watching over their flocks of sheep, making sure they don't go astray. Because if we know anything about sheep from the Bible or just modern day life, they're not the brightest creatures God created. And so the shepherds are watching them when they get this unexpected news. These shepherds, these people working on Christmas Eve, are able to experience the first telling of Christ's birth. That God sends down his angels to give the good news. That Christ has been born, that the one they were awaiting has been born on the earth. Emmanuel, God with us. And so they got to be filled up with that joy. The joy of knowing that God has invited them to be part of this day. To not only hear it, because it would have been enough, but not just to hear, but to go see and confirm it. The angels gave the invitation that this will be the sign. You will find a child lying in a manger. And they go and confirm it. And they don't just keep quiet about it. They got to tell people. And so they tell people as they head back into the fields. Those in Bethlehem hearing about this wonderful child. These angels who couldn't keep their silence either, but had to sing God's praises and glory. And so, friends, we come with joy in our hearts here tonight. Excited and joyful about those sitting around us, friends and family gathered together here tonight. Excited about what lies ahead in the future gatherings and future parties, maybe tonight or maybe tomorrow. With the joy of worshiping God with so many people, knowing that God will be faithful to send his Spirit among us here tonight. And like Charlie Brown, that joy of finding something or someone that needs us. Then we get to the conclusion of Luke's lesson. We have the shepherds heading back, so glad and so overjoyed at what they have heard. We have Mary treasuring things in her heart. We have the shepherds kind of mesmerized about what they've seen. And now it comes to acknowledging this day, acknowledging this Christ child, acknowledging this event. And so for that, the lesson that has come to me, especially as we've gone through this Charlie Brown series, for you see, right there was the original tree. It was nice, by some measure, but it really didn't have much strength, did it? Because when Charlie Brown put that one sole red ornament on, it kind of drooped down. Couldn't handle it. And what God has helped me see here tonight is that what we have is God came to earth. God came and sent his Son. He was born on this earth, was God with us. It no longer had to be something where we just had to trust and believe. It was a physical person that we got to interact with and have our salvation through. And the beauty of this up here is that Charlie Brown knew that that little tree needed him, that many others would overlook it. How does God see us in the same way? That are we that tree? Are we that thing that gets glanced over by the rest of this busy world? Because we're not just one in a million, folks. We're one in many billions these days. But God looks and finds us amidst our weaknesses, finds us amidst our sin, finds us amidst all the things that could go wrong. But God sees the potential. And as Linus so well put, he said, it's not a bad tree, really. It's not a bad tree at all. It just needs a little love. My friends, Jesus came not because he had to, not because he was forced to, but because it was out of God's love, this deep, unconditional love that we have a Messiah who wasn't just born once and we never got to hear from him again, but one who is alive and wants to be invited into your hearts this very evening. And so, friends, the scene now changes, because with a little love, we have our fullest potential. We become the redeemed Christmas people that we were always meant to be, with a Messiah who is with us, with a God who is intimately involved in our lives, not just tonight, but every second, every moment that you are on this earth. And so, friends, let us acknowledge who it is we worship tonight, that we receive a Messiah born, Emmanuel. May his presence, his light, his grace and love dwell in all of our hearts, not only tonight, but all our lives long. Thanks be to God. Amen.